On Asia Down Under today, a show of winners. The most innovative chef of the Lewisham Awards. New Zealand Pork's Best Middle Eye Bacon of the Year. And the supreme winner of the 2009 Style Pacifica Awards. Kia ora and welcome to Asia Down Under. In the land of temples and rice, we meet two New Zealanders who've chosen to call Cambodia home and find out how they've been making a valuable contribution to Cambodia's growing agricultural society. Most visitors come to Cambodia for one reason and one reason alone: the extravagant beauty of its temples. The hundreds of temples that survive are a source of immense national pride. Well, I'm on my way, but like all who head for these wonders of the world, first you start out in Siem Reap. Tourism's long been the name of the game here, ever since the French rediscovered the temples in the 19th century. Today, over 1 million stay in Siem Reap's 100+ hotels. Amongst the pubs and restaurants of downtown is Miss Wong, a small bar run by Dean Williams. Dean is a former Radio New Zealand environmental reporter. He arrived with an Asia New Zealand Foundation grant to record radio features and left entirely in love with the place.
Cambodia gets under your skin, you know, and it was a couple of years later I decided to come back on 1 year leave without pay to do some volunteer work. And then I went home to my job again at Radio New Zealand, packed up my desk and came back.
Why cocktails?
Why cocktails? That was the way I paid my way through university for 8 years. And I'd never owned my own business before, so I thought, why not give it a go? I opened my bar with a budget of probably the same as what you'd buy a second-hand car for in New Zealand. So I'm not a very good businessman, so my philosophy was, if it doesn't work, it's like having a car accident with no insurance.
One of Dean's first missions was working for the CADF, an organisation funded by New Zealand Aid. The objective was to provide poverty-stricken farms with the agricultural know-how and the means to become profitable.
I'd write up an assessment report, basically, and it was really moving work. I mean, these farmers, you have to remember, in Cambodia, 90% of people still rely on agriculture and live in a rural environment. And after 1 year of funding and technical advice, they could send their kids to school, you know, their wives were opening shops. It just changed their lives. So, yeah, I interviewed some people that it would just bring you to tears almost every time.
Siem Reap itself comes across as one big bubble of bustling tourist activity. But just 2 hours down the thoroughfare, you're in the middle of rural Cambodia. For as far as the eye can see, it's just paddy fields and water. And this is just about as real as it's going to get. And at the end of a long, muddy road, a date with a Kiwi from Tauranga. So the cows just hang out. In fact, Bevan Rakoya turns out to be a big Rarotongan, but who looks every bit like a very large Cambodian.
No.
Bevan heads an organisation which aims to help village farmers improve their crop productivity.
We are repairing, doing a lot of work on the roads to provide access for the villagers and also for us to get in for fertiliser and for during our harvest periods. And also we're building culverts that's necessary to provide this so water can easily drain away from the paddy fields.
Bevan has not only married a Cambodian, but married the country itself, for he wants the best for both. His fund's objective is to consolidate small land holdings into larger ones, improve infrastructure, increase output and supply the domestic market with a better quality fragrant rice.
Well, we provide jobs to the families that we've bought the land from.
Yep.
And we also encourage them to learn from our techniques that we are doing on our farms.
Such as?
Well, providing compost,
yep.
Natural fertiliser. We use their knowledge to help improve our farming, and we bring in the technical assistance.
And while the paddy road might be busy, the village seems to sleep. Hooked to a generator, the batteries that power TVs are quietly charging, while the odd villager looks on. It is impossible to underestimate the importance of rice. It's Cambodia's most vital industry and occupies 90% of all agricultural land. Improved productivity has lifted many from below the poverty line.
So this is where the locals store their rice.
So how much rice do you think there is in there?
There's probably keep about 200 to 300 kgs.
Cool, so can I have a look in there?
Yeah, sure, go ahead, please. What we're trying to improve is a better quality of rice that can produce a higher yield. And then this should be able to provide enough rice for the families to survive over there. The next stage in our development is to build a rice mill, a modern-day rice mill that has, and also have a modern-day drying system.
For both Dean Williams and Bevan Rakoya, a new life in Cambodia has been a major change in lifestyle, but one that's been hugely rewarding.
The people are genuine, and they're at a development, at a stage in their development that they just want to improve themselves.
Here, everything is controlled by the rains. If there is one single force of nature to adore, revere and fear all at the same time, it has to be the rains. There is no smell on earth more invigorating than wet soil and freshly planted paddy.
Growing up in a rice-growing state in India, all this is actually very familiar to me. I feel really, really privileged to actually experience life in rural Cambodia. This is just such a perfect time to be here.
Cambodia is beautiful. It at once satisfies all my travel cravings, yet leaves me wanting more. And more has finally arrived. It's been a long time coming, and now I can finally lose myself in my thoughts, here at the temples of the Angkor. Or I thought I could, along with throngs of people. Loud Chinese tourist groups, trigger-happy Tokyoites, the odd hippie or two, and lots of quiet, respectful Cambodian monks and tourists. But I don't want distractions, I only want to look and feel. So I take a few minutes off and pay my silent tribute to the great artisans who created this, and to the gods that inspired this level of devotion, and to the kings who, with their wealth and virtue, made sure Angkor Wat was unparalleled and peerless, even 800 years on.
I never ever thought I'd find myself in Cambodia. Phnom Penh was always the fabled city whose name you could never quite pronounce. I've grown up learning about Angkor Wat in history classes when I was in grade 5. My grandmothers told me about these massive temples that exist in South Asia. My mum has always wanted to come and see the temples in Cambodia. I never thought I would be here. So yeah, to actually come here and witness all of this, it's just fantastic.